There's a lot to go over in today's video. Let me tell you, if we get started from the very beginning of this and we dive into career mode, we really need to figure out how we're going to manage our larger fleets. Now that we have over 20 aircraft in the hangar, it becomes a management issue. How do we afford the maintenance on so many aircraft all at the same time? As you can see, I'm coming into a passive income right now of 4,018,180 credits. The TER is getting up to about the 6% rating on all of these aircraft. And you can see that I have now included a Pilatus PC-24 into the mix with Rescue 1, crediting for a little over 6 hours at 183. Now you can see that all of these are coming in at relatively a very similar amount, right? I'm going to average it at about the 1.6 thousand, right, mark per hour. I don't know how else to work up this. Either way, $4 million passive credit, not doing too bad off of only $21,000 worth of insurance. However, when we're doing this, we need to make sure that we're maintaining these aircraft. And to do that, when you come into all companies and you start managing these aircraft, this can become quite an expensive adventure. Let's dive in right here, and you're going to want to find a way to keep track of these aircraft once you get into your larger hangars. So we can see that that one's already been maintained. And we're just going to run through these until we find these that haven't been maintained. And then we'll do the update checkup, which 12,000, not too bad. Now for the hydraulic system, this one tends to normally come out to be around the 11,700 mark that it shows. But if you go into the details, every once in a while you'll find that these are at a much lesser cost. 807 credits, 46.95, 807 credits, 807 credits, and the actuator's 807 credits. So I've got everything fixed, and I'm actually spending less money than it's showing in that initial evaluation of that aircraft's maintenance. And as we run through this, you'll notice, first of all, that I have a very large fleet of aircraft. This is my cargo side of things. These are both cargo hook H125s, then of course the PC-24, which is working out to be a shit show at this point, to put it bluntly. Yeah, normally I don't swear at this channel, but it is ending in a unexpected error almost every single time you fly into the mission. Have only been able to finish about 1 out of every 10 missions with that. Not exactly impressed just yet, but we know that that first real release SU-1 hasn't been made yet, so we're waiting. But as we maintain these aircraft, you're going to find out that yes, you're spending quite a bit of money to get these taken care of, but every once in a while you're going to come across a system that doesn't have all of these options needing to be fixed every single time. And it's not going to wind up to be nearly as much money as if you start to maintain your aircraft from within the details portion of maintenance. So yes, they all do cost $12,000 up front, but look at this. This is saying that my maintenance cost right now is going to be 333,447 credits. But if I go into the details, this thing only needs an oil change. And that's going to cost me a whopping 120 credits to get that category of maintenance back to good. A little better than 333,000. Maintenance is honestly in the details. Not all of the systems are going to need maintenance every single time. So by coming into these and breaking these down, it is a very tedious, monotonous, and necessary part of the game So it really just starts to hinge on a matter of just how greedy do you want to be with the profitability of your company. But so far, what I can see is that to come into these engine maintenance and go to the details instead, wait a minute. See, now here we have a little bit of a different option. The oil quantity is still good, so what do you really do? This is the time to actually spend the money on the engine. Not too bad. It's going to pay off in the end. Landing gear is something that I will always just go straight to maintain with. Electrical systems, generally the same thing, but let's see what happens when we go into details. Oh, look. The alternator, 7,000. The amount of money that you can save maintaining your fleet by going into each individual detail is exponentially important when it comes to maintaining a proper set of passive income. Here we go again with an engine, looking at 333,000. Detail cost, 120 credits. The savings is exponential. Landing gear, I'm just going to buy it for the 24,380. Electrical system, I'm going to dive into the details. Okay, so in this instance, when you've got the tree of just everything that needs to be fixed, come back out, electrical maintenance, maintain it, good to go, right? Sometimes it's just going to make sense to dive into everything. But with 22 aircraft in the hangar, this gets to be a extremely tedious process. But it is worth it every single time. Look at this. An engine again coming across as 3,320. 333,000 or 120. What's the difference? I will look at the details of this every single time. Look at the amount of cash that I'm saving every time I go into the details. Yes, this is a time-consuming and tedious process. However, an incredible amount of savings is there for the taking. Now, as you also know, I've been running around the world with a lot of cash lately. I've got my company right here with 23 aircraft sitting at a little bit over 5.3 million in credits and 9.2 overall. I'm actually looking pretty good at this point, considering early on in our adventures we actually had to restart all of our career progress. On the planet now, we are getting these missions. The level of 6s. Okay, but you can start to see that, of course, Microsoft is paying much more attention to these medevac missions because they are fixed wing. They do pay pretty well. 45,000 on this one is the low end of things. I've seen these pay quite a bit more. It depends on the environment, length of the flight, the duration of the flight, but you can also see that we now have these cargo missions, because what I've done is I've put 2 fixed wing aircraft into my hangar, and it's helping me out with a few things. So by having these 2 fixed wing aircraft in my hangar right now, my passive incomes are growing exponentially. So my cargo everywhere right now is doing a medium cargo mission load with a Pilatus PC-24. That's gaining me sometimes million+ credits every single mission. Very helpful. However, only 1 out of 10 missions of those are actually working right now. Not exactly impressive, but I have been getting the stick time for it, right? You saw that passive income through today. It's actually working out quite well. So what I like to do in the meantime is try out some of the other things that are happening on the planet. You can see that I've opened up all of the South American continent here, and we have several of these hoist missions going offshore. Haven't put aircraft in those areas yet, but I have been spending most of my time as of late putting in these areas around the planet by doing the fast travel. Starting to work on most of this continent here. You can see that we're getting tons and tons of missions around the planet. Maybe not tons, especially when it comes to the choices that you get, because, you know, all of these hoist missions off the coastline are all identical. It's just a matter of where the raft is in the water. But we're opening up the entire planet. At the same time, what I've started to do is kind of take a note of where each and every one of my search and rescue missions without the hoist are sort of taking place. So we've got this one right here with the LF. I haven't recorded this one yet. Let's see what else we've got right here. In Spain, we've got the LETN option going here, 43 nautical miles away, a little far for my liking. Then we have the LFTS. And these are all very repetitive missions. These come up on a regular basis. So right now what I'm doing with the majority of my money when it comes to prepping for Microsoft's ability to get this simulator right is just to continuously spend money on opening up the entire planet. Because in this freelancer mode right now, you can see that as I unlock things, we're getting missions all over the place. And it is just going to become a matter of time before I have aircraft in every single location. And then a lot of my time will be spent maintaining my fleet and maybe running 1 or 2 aircraft a day. Because if you could do it on a regular basis, like I said, my overall goal here is to do about 1 million or more credits of income for every hour of flight. By adding in the PC-24 twice, doing the medevac and the medium cargo missions, I've actually made that work quite well. An aircraft is needed in this area, and again, this is something that I'm doing on a consistent basis lately, is you need to go in and preview this area. Yes, there is a little bit of a spot where I might be able to land here, but it's that big of a question mark to where I'm going to just avoid it altogether. Let's come in and let's see what we have here at KTRK. I've also did the update of the NVIDIA driver to the 572.6, still using DLSS 4, and we are now up to quality render settings. Many more things happening in the background there. Several of the settings have gone up to the quality version. Things are looking pretty good as of late. And once again, here we are testing it live and in front of you for the first time. We'll see how this goes. First thing I'm going to do is manage that aircraft. But I'm going to go fuel and payload, and I want to actually manage the fuel and sell that gasoline. I'm going to sell it off, earn some credits. It's only 5,274 credits, but that's okay. It's all good. Making some money, and I can put it right back into the aircraft. I'm going to use the hacks when they're given to me. My pilot rating right now is actually doing extremely well. What's up, SoCal Jerry? Understand you're online tonight. Earning some cash, wondering how things are going from you. Tarantula Man, you're out there too in the flight sim. Wonder how things are going for you. Taking a little bit of a flight once again in that H-125, doing more search and rescue HEMS missions. Seeing all about that new driver setup that we've got. So far, I would have to say that it's actually looking pretty good. The horizontal line that I used to be getting on the monitor when I went to the left and right view is now completely gone. Not really so much of an issue there. Of course, you know, since this Sim Update 1 hasn't really even been launched yet, they're having a ton of problems with it. Things are still happening in the background. But at the same time, I've had a really great experience when it comes to the search and rescue missions as of late. By incorporating the fixed wing into my passive income and overall company hangar, profits are skyrocketing. It'll be really nice once those missions actually work, because honestly, doing the medevac missions in the PC-24 it's quite enjoyable. You can really kind of dive in and see which airports are going to support your aircraft in good weather or bad before you launch that mission, and you should really start to just dial into your ability to fly in those conditions. But get a heads up on what they are first. Do some research on what your destination airport is, even what your departure airport is, before you launch that mission. Find out what your runway distance is. So many things that go into it. But you can do all of that before you take off. Use something
Tech
like
9 SAR Heli 241 ready for takeoff.
I think we should turn those voices off.
Tech 9 green light.
What do you think? Should we leave them on? It's been a while since we've had those. We'll see. We'll just bring up the volume mixer here and
Hey, just a quick reminder of the urgent situation at hand. We've got a missing person in the mountainous region of Truckee. His name's Michael. He decided to climb a summit earlier today and never came back. Since we've had no communication since then, we're a bit worried he might need help. I'll stay on the radio the whole operation to assist you if needed.
That's so very kind of you. We'll get some taxi clearance.
Ground SAR Heli 241 Sierra Alpha Romeo 69er request taxi for south departure.
SAR Heli 241 Sierra Alpha Romeo 69er taxi to helipad number 1. Contact tower on 120. 575 when ready.
Flight ready conditions.
Taxi to helipad number 1 SAR Heli 241 Sierra Alpha Romeo 69er.
We have seen this airport before. This is not the first time we have been here. Pretty sure it's not going to be the last, but we'll see how the mission goes, how the graphics look in comparison. But the new driver does seem to be making quite a bit of a difference.
Tower SAR Heli 241 Sierra Alpha Romeo 69er ready at helipad 1 south departure. SAR Heli 241 Sierra Alpha Romeo 69er altimeter 29er. 9er 2 south departure approved. Cleared for takeoff helipad 1. SAR Heli 241 Sierra Alpha Romeo 69er leaving my airspace frequency change approved. Cleared for takeoff helipad 1 SAR Heli 241 Sierra Alpha Romeo 69er.
Your map should display your assigned search area. Check it regularly. SAR Heli 241 Tech 9 clock's ticking. We'd better find something quick.
A very small amount of smearing coming off of the
place,
skids.
it's possible to get injured and not be able to call for help.
But much less than
No
before,
news yet
and
from
I
my
do have this
side,
on
but
a
the relatives
quality
appreciate
setting
your
now.
help.
Still using
They're quite concerned, as you can imagine. We all hope you'll bring him back home, buddy.
DLAA. I am now using quality, and I've upped some settings to ultra. It's been about a week since I've done my last stream. So there's definitely some things that have been worked on since that last update. But overall, I think this update 5.72.6 for the driver is only the start. You want to be able to go in and clear out your cache. Make sure that you're maintaining all of your systems. And again, if you guys need any more tips on that, I'll recommend this gentleman all day long. Our good man Island Sim Pilot is full of great information. Highly recommend going over and checking out the videos that he has on all of these updated drivers and everything else. He's a wealth of information, and it's making the flight experience quite enjoyable. DB, it's going quite well, man. How are you? Thanks for coming along for the flight today. It's going very well. So if the last couple of days your helicopters are just bouncing around and everything like that, they're just crashing, when was the last time you downloaded the simulator? How long ago did you do your install? What system are you running? There's so many different things that are going to go into this situation right here. So the version of the simulator that you're working on matters most. Then it will be your driver, your DLSS4 configurations,
Last known position was
what's
around you
going
now.
on inside of your
He took with him an
profile
orange hiking
inspector,
equipment. It may be easy to spot from where you are.
and what kind of graphics settings you can get out of your specific machine. All right, every machine is going to have its own tolerances. Mine specifically is a 2080 Ti graphics card on a Ryzen Threadripper. It is a rather beefy system. However, I still stuttered quite a bit when it came to the graphics initially. But once I started watching Island Sim Pilot's configurations, yeah, man, he did quite a few things for me. And if you're on Xbox, I unfortunately, my good man, don't have much information for you other than they're working on it, and so far they are not having a lot of great luck with it. Xbox seems to be struggling. I mean, you can probably put most of that right back onto a Sobo. The one thing that I'm still getting quite a bit of is that, like you just saw right there, the helicopter will just fall out of the sky. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. It works out.
Star Heli 241, I told you, don't use this frequency for fun. Only if you have something
But on
important for
PC
us.
right now, I'd have to say that I'm getting a really decent experience out of this.
SAR Heli 241 Tech 9. I found a man. He managed to park at a safe spot.
PC and Xbox are two
39 north,
completely
120
different animals,
west.
my man.
Target in sight. Let's get ready to extract him. We're loading. SAR Heli 241, ready for extraction. Captain,
I don't
missing
think I would
people
even be
and
able to
medic team.
fly
Ready for
with the
takeoff.
Xbox controller just because I'm so used to the actual controls of a chopper being, left hand cyclic or left hand collective. Wow, there we go. I've had a few beers, if you can't tell. I'm flying a little intoxicated tonight. Truth be told. But either way, I dye the grass.
Tower SAR Heli 241 Sierra Alpha Romeo 69er 8000 for to land.
And beta
SAR
3.
Heli 241
See, I
Sierra
haven't tried a
Alpha
single
Romeo
beta
69er tower.
yet.
Altimeter 29er.
The only
9er
thing I'm really
25,
trying to do
base
is
helipad 1.
optimize computer settings and the functionality of what they've delivered us already.
Make right base helipad 1 SAR Heli 241
And so far,
Sierra
this
Alpha
version
Romeo
of the
69er.
NVIDIA driver
Hi there, I'm Kiuna.
with
I'm your rescue medic.
DLSS4
I'll be with you the whole way to
enabled,
Truckee.
all of that
okay?
good stuff through the
I'm here to
profile
help you have a
inspector,
comfortable flight.
all that good stuff. You know, this thing is running extremely well. Sometimes before, when I would do these sort of orbiting maneuvers with the camera, you would see a lot of like stuttering. That is just an absolute thing of the past. I mean, it's there, but it's not as bad. And again, this is a 2080 Ti. If you're running something like the 30 series or higher, the capabilities on a PC are pretty amazing. I've even seen Island Sim Pilot pump his sliders up a little bit over the 100% mark. You know, he's not using 100% of the terrain data. He's actually going further with his 3000 series card. And the results that he's getting out of it are astonishing, which makes me go back to my original thought of wanting to duplicate my 20 Ti or 2080 Ti into a bridge.
You look fine, but I'll just do a quick check, mostly to reassure everyone waiting for you back at base.
But I think a lot of this has to do with just communications between multiple different platforms. Right? NVIDIA is also having to kind of cope with this new technology. And it's a group effort at this point, and I'm happy to be a part of it because the results so far are pretty astonishing. The TB Velocity 1, I like it. What I'm most excited for right now, though, is honestly the marketplace. Because once we can get this bad boy right here, the Miltech and Blackbird Simulations MH60 into the mix, things are going to get lit. Because I want to be doing this mission in that chopper. I want to be doing every mission in an MH60. And with them fixing 1,000 bugs in a single go, I have a feeling that spending the credits to open up the planet where I have is really going to come into handy. So I could open up more missions that are new, and the experience should hopefully be much, much better. See, now prior, we used to have an issue with this specific approach to the helipad where it would glitch when you got close. Like right here, it would just all of a sudden freak out. Just like this. And it's doing it again. Alright? And you kind of lose track of where things are for a second. And it wants you to stop and hold short. And you know you're there. But you have to slowly find a way to bring this thing into a little bit lower of a hover while it tries and yeah. Right, this is the kind of thing. You hated Truckee? Yeah, well, I'm not a big fan. But you can see that I've tried working through it and okay. Now, it looked hard, but I promise you that was a lot softer of a landing than it looked. I've practiced this specific airport so many times, I've gotten like a knee-jerk reaction to that glitch where it throws you
Heli
into
241 Sierra Alpha Romeo 69er taxi to General Aviation parking via taxiway Alpha Delta, Quebec.
pretty interesting. But once that's done, you know, of course, the simulator becomes smooth again. Everything's just fine. You can acknowledge the transmission. Every once in a while, it gets a little stupid, and it takes you all the way across the airport. Like, I have my visual assistance off right now. Let's turn them back on. Go to visual assistance, right? Sometimes that, even though it's a half-mile away, sometimes it'll be clear across the airport, and it's just so ridiculous. I'm not worried about them fixing things graphically with it as much as I am worried about them fixing these extensive taxi issues. Like, I get it fine. Like, right now, as I slowly crawl across this airport, I'm gonna wind up getting, you know, flight time for passive income. Mission's not over yet. I'm still in the air, hands on, right? But this shouldn't be a thing. I've also toyed around with the idea of getting to this point and just parking. So I'm gonna come into a hover. I'm gonna completely hands off this thing right now. I'm 100% hands off. What would happen if, now that this mission has been complete, what if I just sat here in a hover? Even if I came up in altitude for a little bit, what if I sat in a hover for like the next 9 hours? And you know, or every once in a while just come back in and do like the repair and refuel mid-flight, right? Because I can stay in a pretty solid hover for quite a while, hands off in say H-125, as long as you're at altitude, and not have to worry about crashing into anything. But I would be able to pull in so many flight hours, even after the mission's been completed, just by staying in a hover. And I think that might be like the ultimate cheat code. I haven't tried it yet, but it's something that I certainly want to try. Truckee is something that you can definitely overcome. It's worth it. It's a quick mission. But I think if we came up to altitude, put it in a hover at this point, I'm still going to accumulate mission hours. For passive income. Quite a smearing going. There's a lot of smearing going on actually, like over the other aircraft that are on the pad coming off of their airframes. Lot of weird stuff going on with the graphics. But that's when you're paying like super close attention to it. Like, I'm sure this could be better, but for real though, this is a 2080 Ti. Up to that parking stand, shut her down.
Great job out there. We didn't even have time to worry.
You only
Welcome
need
back.
one more heli mission to get poised to qualify. I'm gonna go see if I can clear up my. Good for you, man. the hoist is something that we should be able to utilize on every single mission if it's up to me, but thank you, sir. I appreciate you. We'll definitely see you later. Thanks for stopping in. Good to see you, DB. Good luck out there. One thing's for sure is this aircraft needs a bird bath, without question. If you've been with me for any amount of time, you'll know I like to let this RPM spool down. 170 is the magic number. Does take a little bit of time, but it's worth it when it comes to the maintenance of your aircraft, because like we said in the beginning, right? This is all about maintenance being in the details. The rotor brake is part of those details. So pay attention to what your EFB is saying when it comes to your checklist for your aircraft. Make sure that your post-flight engine shutdown rotor brake is following procedure below 140 or 170 in high wind conditions. We had some wind today. I bet I could probably get away pretty successfully right now with actually shutting this down where it is, and we'll call it a day. One thing I haven't done with the new graphics driver is fly a mission in the PC-24. I've flown it in free flight with great success. But we haven't flown it in a mission yet, and I'm curious if it has had any impact. As unrelated as it sounds, does it have an impact on the issues that we've seen with the unexpected error? We'll go through this real quick. S rating is still right there. Either way, I've got the mission set to just dump out of this. 1.7 million, 9.3 overall. We'll go into the mission set. I only have one aircraft set up to do cargo, and then another one set up to do air ambulance. And air ambulance tends to be a little bit more difficult just because there's still a lot of bugs, which are hopefully soon to be fixed, with the patient's stability. Some of the issues exist when it comes to the cargo and the stability of the load, but I've had more profitability when it comes to the actual cargo missions. So we'll do a cargo media mission here. It's only 380,000 in credits. 390 credits to move it. Clouds are an option. We're going to definitely wind up coming into the EFB before we do this, though. I find this extremely interesting that it starts off as if this mission were to be happening at night. I don't want to be working on that. I want to work on the flight planner. I want to come in and make sure that my elevation is below 20,000 feet. So 11,000 should be pretty decent. You can see that translated into feet right there. We're going to transfer that into ATC and avionics. We will accept that mission after we close our EFB. transfer that over. See how it goes. This plane has earned me quite a bit of coin lately. I've done some of the missions that have that little red dot on there, which means that they've had, you know, the little bit of a heavier weather condition on takeoff and landing. And yeah, you'll get over 1 million credits for doing one of these missions. Let's go ahead and manage the aircraft. We'll do fuel and payload first. I'm actually going to add some gas into this bad boy because let's get her done. We'll back out of that. I'm going to manage it. I should have just done it right from there too, huh? When it comes to maintenance, it seems to all be pretty good. Fly it. 543 nautical miles. We're just going to take a little bit of a scenic ride right now and learn the PC-24 and how this does for medevac missions is very similar because you'll see me go through the same procedures. Do obviously pre-check. No man, not too worried about the tires. You can do them if you want. Even though I've washed it and all that maintenance is done, it's still a dirty bird. First things first.
So today's
whether you're doing a medevac mission or not, turn on the oxygen. Right down here. It's the left knee of your co-pilot. Then come up and turn on the APU gen. That provides oxygen to the patient before you put him in. Now again, the cargo mission, but there you go. Make sure that the patient has a constant supply of oxygen before they get on the aircraft if you're doing these medevac missions.
Our sensitive cargo containers are built to handle turbulence, but maintain a constant flight speed.
Lights,
Let's keep our delivery on time and safe.
Maybe a nav, some wing lights. I'm not going to announce the taxi just yet because I want to see what's going on with my EFB. So in this right here, we're going to compare this to what's happening in here. We don't even see a flight plan. How do we get it to work? Well, once again, come into the top menu option and just send that to your avionics one more time. You can go back to the map if you want. At this point, I'm going to disconnect it and put it on another monitor and then activate it. Inside of my PFD, I can then bring my altitude up to the designated 11,000 foot mark. I can bring my managed speed up to something around maybe 225. Let's announce the taxi at the same time.
Kilo Bravo
There
Bravo
we go.
Whiskey
We'll
Traffic
take that
SAR,
parking
Heli
brake
241 Charlie Echo Alpha 59er is taxiing to runway tree 2.
We'll get the taxi. In the PC-24. Got a full load of gas. I'm going to go ahead and check the trim real quick and just kind of double check that and make sure that we're centered. I like it. There's the down, there's the center. We're at a 1 degree up according to the telemetry, but it is centered in my opinion. We're going to go bring those flaps down to a takeoff detent. I'm going to put the yaw dampener on, put the bank limiter on, make sure all of that is set before I get ready for takeoff. Let's go ahead and stop at our hold short. Announce takeoff.
Kilo Bravo Bravo Whiskey Traffic SAR, Heli 240 1 Charlie Echo Alpha 59er taking off runway tree 2 south departure.
One thing I've noticed with this PT-24 is that the steering on the ground as you're taking off is a little bit wonky at best. So if you see me hopscotching left and right, for this takeoff, you're going to know that this is all about the pedals. I'm going to put that parking brake on right now, throttle up full, let those engines spool up until they're 100%. Release that parking brake. I have flaps at takeoff. There we go. Actually forward stick a little bit. V1 coming up.
V1 rotate.
Reached, and we are lifting off. Landing gear retract beginning. Start to maintain our throttle at this point, making sure that we stay under 250 nautical miles per hour, below 10,000 feet. Making sure our bank angle is nice and steady. I'm going to contact that tower.
Denver Center
And
SAR
I'm
Heli
going to
241
hand
Charlie Echo
fly.
Alpha 59er is type Pilatus PC 24.2 miles
Visual
northwest of
assistance.
Kilo Bravo Bravo, Whiskey 3,300 feet. Request flight following.
Flaps
Heli
are
241
stowed.
Charlie Echo Alpha 59er Denver Center. Squawk 0001.
Gear is stowed. Speed is a little quick. I want to start trying to maintain that. We're going to acknowledge a squawk.
Squawk
If you've
0001
noticed, I've
SAR
got
Heli
volumes down
241
on
Charlie
this,
Echo
which becomes
Alpha
a little bit
59er.
challenging, but it makes you stay hyper vigilant.
Our Heli 241 Charlie Echo Alpha 59er radar contact 4 miles northwest of Kilo Bravo Bravo Whiskey.
Most of the time, though, as I'm doing these missions, as I approach a cruise, or even if I'm in cruise, sometimes even after landing, I will
Roger,
wind
SAR
up
Heli
getting
240
an
1 Charlie Echo
unexpected
Alpha
error
59er.
message.
Denver Center SAR
Will
Heli
request
241 Charlie
IFR
Echo
clearance
Alpha
so
59er 5
far.
miles west of Kilo
I'm
Bravo
going to
Bravo Whiskey
intercept our
5,100
flight
foot request
path.
IFR to Kilo Tango Hotel Oscar ready to copy.
And I'm not going to pay so much attention to the
SR Heli 241 Charlie
visual
Echo Alpha
assistance
59er is cleared to Kilo Tango
for
Hotel
direction.
Oscar Airport is filed. Squawk 0001.
or I should say, I'm not going to pay attention to the visual assistance for altitude just
SAR
yet,
Heli
but more
240
so
1
for
Charlie Echo
direction.
Alpha 59er
Obviously, I
cleared
do
Kilo
have
Tango
my
Hotel
PFD
Oscar
here that
Airport
shows
as
you the
filed.
same thing,
Squawk 0001.
but just a visual reference of where you should be
SR Heli 241
as far
Charlie
as your
Echo Alpha 59er
altitude
readback
goes.
correct. Radar contact 5,000 feet, altimeter 29er.
I like to keep those visual
901 turn
assistants
right
on
heading
until I've
195,
reached a
resume
cruise
own
altitude.
navigation climb and maintain 12,000 feet.
Once I get to a specific spot, my auto throttle should be set. I'm going to flight direct, autopilot, get a new heading, do a
SR Heli
heading,
241 Charlie Echo Alpha
and start
59er
to
acknowledge last
manually
transmission.
control this. Only laterally with autopilot. Trying to keep up with ATC.
Turn right heading 195,
Trying to keep
resume
the
own
movements of the
navigation
aircraft
climb
nice and
and
steady.
maintain 12,000 foot SAR Heli
And it wants me to
241
reach
Charlie Echo Alpha
12,000, not 11.
59er.
Let's put another grand in there. Just like that. Fuel looks good. Flaps, landing gear are up. Auto throttle is engaged and working. Yaw dampener is not. It was on. There we go. Let's get that back into place. The sun is definitely causing an issue with my dash at this point. Dirty, dirty bird as well. Let's go ahead and get a new heading. And just just kind of roll this with our mouse. I'm hands off at this point besides just tracking left and right with my mouse movement. I have not done a vertical speed or a flight level change. I'm just slowly coming into it. Do a vertical speed. See that we're at a 700 foot per minute. Track. We're not necessarily on track with our navigation just yet. So what we're going to want to do is actually make sure that we can line up with that navigation using the heading. You can see that it's not keeping the same line with the visual assistance as it does with your PFD. Right, as I try to go towards the visual assistance, it's actually moving me in the wrong direction. But when we are locked into our nav, we should actually see that turn from a green line into a magenta line. And of course, you can come down here and do your select. We'll change that up. We'll get ready to change this into a navigational mode instead of heading. And now we should be able to put heading on one more time. We'll go to nav, and this thing is going to make a right turn and start to come into our path. And you can see here on our EFB that it is not following the flight path as of yet, but on our PFD in the aircraft, it is going to follow it, and it's going to follow it nicely. Take that off one more time. We'll just set that off to the side. Put the mission steps in the corner and just follow along and enjoy the ride. Now you'll see as soon as I did that, the autopilot has come off. And I cannot explain why that happens. I believe it is a button mapping issue, but I haven't been able to figure out just what that conflict is as of yet. But being hyper vigilant of the state of your aircraft is extremely important. And even though the flight director has been activated, I am hand flying this aircraft at this moment. Let's reset the heading
Our
track.
Heli 241 Charlie Echo Alpha 59er, please
Just to be on the
expedite your
safe side,
climb
we better
12,000
move it
feet.
closer. Starting to lose quite a bit of airspeed. We'll kick that bad boy back up. We'll get our auto throttle back to engaged again by kicking on our autopilot, putting on our heading, and then we will do auto throttle. And we'll put a new heading marker in there. It's almost as if the simulator needs you to stay in constant contact with the aircraft. And if you get too complacent with the autopilot, things will go wrong. Starting to dial in a little more vertical speed. You can see I'm up to
10,000 feet.
1,800, I think it is right now. 1,800 feet per minute. But I have the auto throttle set, limiting the aircraft to 225. I'm going to do that below 10,000. Once it's above 10,000, you see me dial in some speed. Push that to about 280. It's got me at 281 right now. You can see that right there in the upper left-hand corner of that display. And make up 280. As we do this, you can see that I'm going to need to change the heading manually to keep up with the track, unless I turn this to nav. And now it's going to override that. My line is now magenta on the PFD, and I am following a flight plan that is identical to what is in my EFB. Because after I took off, I re-established a connection here with the send route to avionics. You have to do it more than once. We are at our 12,000. We are at cruise. And we're just chilling. Enjoy the flight in the dirty part. don't know. So far, I'm thinking this thing is looking pretty good. What? So far, everything looks to be pretty good. See, now normally in flight, they want you to turn the GPU off. When you're flying the search and rescue missions, before you shut down your aircraft, and I do mean that with italicized bold-faced font, before you shut down your aircraft, make sure your GPU is on and your oxygen is still running in order to maintain a better experience for your patient. No seatbelt signs are off, and no smoking signs are off, because let's light them if you got them. You know the danger. Cabin lights, let's go ahead and turn those bad boys on. It might get dark, it might not. Turn the cockpit dome light on to about 55%. Not 50. That would be too just round. I'm trying to get in shape. I know round is a shape, but we're just trying to get the simulator in shape. So far, so good. Just at about 280 knots over the line. We're right. SoCal, you crack me up, bro. So the reason I'm in fixed wing right now is actually because of medevac missions and the desire to earn more money passively. Even though this mission that I'm in right now is a cargo mission, it's the same basic thing. These can earn somewhere around 1 million credits per mission. And having one of these in medium cargo configuration, plus another one, same aircraft, PC-24, available for medevac, has increased my profit margins when it comes to passive income exponentially. These things earn a lot of money. That's all I'm saying. It's the bread and butter of Microsoft, right? How have you been? SoCal, it's been a minute, man. I haven't even streamed in like a week. Work has been so busy lately. Human cargo. I mean, why not? Right? The incident that just happened in Pennsylvania was human cargo. It was a human cargo deficiency. I'm trying to provide services that are better than that. In the simulated world or not. SoCal, are you new at this? It doesn't pay to help others according to Microsoft Flight Simulator. What? What corporate entity under the name of Microsoft has ever been in the business of helping others outside of the very first day? It started off with good intentions, don't get me wrong. Microsoft has a lot of a lot of great stuff. However, yeah, man, family's keeping me busy too, bro. But you know what I mean? Microsoft is a profit-driven industry. And it's kind of pathetic at this point because, man, this version, this is rough. We do have it dialed in pretty good right now, though. I'm not gonna lie, it's looking good. For instance, if I were to bring my EFB and my mission stops back on board, and we'll actually shut these down for a second all together, and then bring up that Alt-R. And you know that I've never been the frame whore. I'm at 47 FPS. 83% GPU, 86, 85. I would call it an average of 85. 23% CPU, and this is while streaming. Like, things are starting to turn around, but at the same time, I still feel a little bit like there's this dude in the corner, like, you know what I mean? they still have the profit margin just stretched as well as it could be. They're relying so much on the public to do their testing. It's jacked up. But the public is coming through, because as we've seen earlier on in my streaming days, 46, 45 FPS on a consistent basis were just not a thing. It wasn't happening. Right. 47 is pretty good, I am not gonna lie. Can't even go wrong with that. That good old-fashioned 2080 Ti is coming in handy, man. Even from inside. And my settings right now are kind of pushing a little bit more towards the ultra side. And I am still that guy that deleted 2020 off of my system pretty early on. The marketplace, bro, is probably one of my biggest points of contention because of this guy right here. And you brought it to my attention. Right? Because we could be doing these missions in a chopper like that. Yeah, the new NVIDIA driver today is actually what I am running right now. That's the 572.6. I did a cache clear at the same time. Made sure that all of the caches were completely cleaned out. The shader cache and all. It took no time to recover from it. But you can see some things like happening with the graphics as we're just streaming here. Just like weird anomalies with the tail of the aircraft going from blue to the dirty. But that's hopefully some of the stuff they're going to be fixing. Like that seems like almost an issue with the paint job of the aircraft going from a blue stabilizer to a white. Bizarre. Small things like that. Stuttering over the airports, all of that. That's really kind of a thing of the past, even in free flights. I have not repopulated my community folder yet. I am stoked for the Black Hawk. I might just spend a little too much time in that thing. I've opened up a lot of the planet when it comes to fast travel. My scope of profitability right now is pretty big. I am flying these cargo missions and the medevac missions in the central US with great success, 1 out of 10 times. That's great success. Oh, several months is probably, it's a solid estimate. It leaves it wide open for a year even. Either way, I'm in for it. And Microsoft needs to take the time with the marketplace, because there is a lot of things that can go extremely wrong with it. I wonder what happens if I just stay a little bit closer to my aircraft here, if that changing of the UV mapping stays more consistent. It probably will, even as I like try to do another orbit around. Yeah, I mean, the audience is fickle. You know what I mean? We're a demanding population these days. And sure, you know, I mean, things happen quickly, but time is relative. It does kind of look like a rock at the bottom half of it. Yes, absolutely. And this is their version of a dirty airplane. This is what they think a dirty aircraft looks like. Even though I've recently repainted this airframe. This is what it looks like when they call it a dirty aircraft. You can see it kind of spill over the white line a little bit. It's just kind of very weird. Yeah. But it flies really well. I'm extremely happy with this airplane, actually. And of course, you know, I am a helicopter guy, but at the same time, prior to helicopters being introduced to Flight Sim, in Microsoft Flight Sim back in the day, didn't even have helicopters, you know? I mean, I've been in this simulator for a lot of years. So it's kind of like going back to the roots. And I always like a good Learjet. This is a good one to fly. I like this one a lot if you want to, you know, stay base sim. Even here, you can only see like the dirt at the tail portion of the aircraft. It starts to get weird as you just move around and you get closer to it. The graphics start to come back in. It's proximity. A rock jet. Well, this is a water dip. All right, so this is hydro dip. It's an intentional choice. We're trying to make it look like we're touching the earth and the sky at the same time with our hydro dip. Little spray paint, little water. Even from the bottom though, I don't know if I would call that camouflage because it's only in the middle of the aircraft. It doesn't even touch like the wing tips. It's just the center fuselage. Maybe a little on it, like that. It's comical. Got the lights flashing. Yeah, you like that? I saw that at the same time you said that. The landing lights are flashing. Yeah, might as well keep them on. Why not? Can't even see it from here. And landing probably isn't happening for a while, considering we're almost halfway through our flight. I'm expecting wholeheartedly a unexpected error to end this mission short. If I make it to the destination, I would be shocked. But even still, you know what I mean? This is a great way to earn passive income because the flight simulator is recognizing that I'm in a fixed wing 24 running a mission and its pay grade is right where we want it to be. Like, this bad boy can earn $1 million a mission, no problem. And pretty hands off. Like, as long as you keep volumes up and you're aware of the situation when you're trying to contact different airspaces. Great way to earn money, though. They bribe you. SoCal. Oh man, it's so good to see you, dude. I love it. They bribe you. They bribe you with the dirty airplane. Could you imagine what would happen if I turned on my windshield wipers at this point?
SAR Heli 241, Charlie Echo Alpha 5. Niner, did you copy? 1 tree. 4 SAR Heli 240, 1 Charlie Echo Alpha 5 Niner. Denver Center SAR Heli 240, 1 Charlie Echo Alpha 5 Niner, 12,000 feet.
SAR Heli 240, 1 Charlie Echo Alpha 5 Niner, Denver Center altimeter 30. 04 radar contact. Continue to JWLS.
A ton of cash. This thing cost quite a bit of money. But again, it's in the details, bro. Okay? I don't know if you know about this, but if you have seen the details when you're maintaining your aircraft, especially when it comes to the engine itself, a lot of the times I will see a maintenance cost on the engine of 333,000 credits, and you'll go into the details and all your helicopter needs is an oil change, and it's like 120 credits or something. It's all about the details and a matter of time, because the graphics themselves are they're on point. Yeah, there's things coming in and out, this, that, and the other thing. I get it, right? There's things that are wrong. However, dude, this thing, compared to 2020, I'm on fire about this version. I absolutely love it. What are you flying? The H-125 doing some shenanigans in Papua New Guinea with some Discord peeps. I dig it. I love it. Papua New Guinea, great spot. No doubt. Not Papua New Guinea. Not quite Papua New Guinea. See, but I don't think an airfield matters too much when it comes to an H1 or an H-125. Grass strip or not. Because those things can be brought down literally anywhere. I've actually started to accumulate a little bit of a log of where the 125 search and rescue missions are occurring on the planet. So when you say you're at a specific airport, like you're at Whiskey Yankee 30, Bondurant, it's a 24 nautical mile mission, right? I have a screenshot of where that mission's survivor is. So I can go back to them and get like a 100% across the board when it comes to missions ratings every single time. And I've got a pretty lengthy list right now. SAKX, Sierra, and you know what I mean? Like all of them are just Sierra, Charlie, Romeo, Golf, Lima, Echo, Tango, November, Lima, India, Alpha, Papa, Lima, Foxtrot, Juliet, November. There's so many of these that you can just go back to over and over and over again. So I've started to acquire a like snapshot of where each and every rescue is taking place on the planet. So every single time I do one of these missions, it's guaranteed to be a 100% rating. See, I don't fly the Draco very much. I should. I want to be able to get into more of that, but I want to wait until things get fixed more. I love the Draco. It's so much power. The Draco seems to be such like a really good time. In free flight. Maybe not so much for career mode.
SAR Heli 240, 1 Charlie Echo Alpha 5, Niner contact Denver Center on 128, tree 75. Good day.
Sort of, SoCal. I mean, the lack of variability, as you call it, has sort of led to a cheat code, right? I know where all of these missions are going to be generated every single day. So now it's just like I can go there one after another and just pound them out and make sure they are all, look at me missing ATC transmissions, talking to you. I love it. But yes, it's a cheat code.
SAR Heli 240, 1 Charlie Echo Alpha 5. Niner, please acknowledge.
Let's bring up our...
To 128.
It's missing so many ATC transmissions right now. I think I should probably put that back up. What do you think? Well, there, you said there's a lack of airframe flexibility in the campaign missions. Not only is there a lack of airframe capability, there's a lack of capability, period. You know what I mean? You'll get into some of these and it's like unexpected error, or your landing gear stops working when you do the landing. Up, down, left. Dude, hilarious. Up, down, left, right, X, O, or something like that. Bro, you're too funny. Right? Like it's a game of Mortal Kombat. Fight. I've said it in prior videos where it's like off to the next search and rescue mission. Round 2. Fight. It's hysterical that you say that. It's still a baby. This thing is still a baby. I just don't know why they didn't incorporate something more intuitive when it comes to mission sets, like they had in the H-145 that High Performance Group came out with, where it's just an EFB based platform where it says start mission set. And you go. And it was an unending, you just go on missions. You finish one, you can start another one. You don't have to go to the main menu. You can stay in the aircraft and fly as if you were a simulated person. And then Asobo got a hold of it and it was like, nope, it needs to be a game. Asobo killed this shit, to put it bluntly. I blame it on Asobo. It could have been so much better. It could have been so much easier. An EFB based mission set. Here's your point A, here's your point B. You don't need any cutscenes unless you're in a stable environment. You know what I mean? Like, High Performance Group had everything we needed to do missions already in place. And Asobo was like, nope, hold my beer. The restart process sucks. Yeah, true story. Pre-flight the entire airframe, each mission. And all you're doing is trying to get past their bugs. While I'm flying the rock. One thing that really cracks me up, though, is just how long they're spending on the testing right now. for SU-1, or whatever they're calling it, they're spending a lot of time because the ripple effect right now is having consequential effect. Effect. It's all fucked. In quotes, maybe. The quotes are everything. The quotes are absolutely everything. See, but I think that's kind of a necessity. They had to learn something, right? It was something that no one has ever done before. So props to them for diving in head first, but man, could we have avoided some of this with some testing first? Absolutely. Getting a new heading here, we can see that. PC-24 just taking a turn of its own from outside, just chilling. Still on autopilot, maintaining visual. How we doing? A little over halfway there. Inside of our aircraft right now, we're looking at about 280 knots. We're just slightly below our engines. Excuse me, I'm on as I sneeze. Wow. Engines back. Wow. I'm gonna recuperate from that. And do it again. Sneeze twice in one stream. That's it. That's awesome. You ever sneezed in the middle of a live stream? I have. Either way, I died the grass. What state am I flying to? Good question. So, if I were to come into my flight plan, my destination airport is KTHO. Kilo Hotel Tango October. Let's see. Kilo Hotel Tango October is East Hampton Airport. This looks to be in serves New York. That's what this, okay, so that's what Wikipedia said. What? Because if I look at my route here, that is not New York. I am going to want to catch a little bit more altitude here before things get a little any more serious. So let's put some altitude into this. It is bringing me slightly to the west, but Let's shift A, bring up our increase altitude by 10,000.
Denver Center SAR, Heli 241 Charlie Echo, Alpha 59er. Request FL 220.
Flight level 220.
SAR Heli 241
We're gonna wind
Charlie
up
Echo Alpha
for a
59
moment.
climb and maintain FL 220.
Getting over some mountains here. Just to make sure we got enough clearance. You sneezed once while having the hiccups. It breaks the body. Bro, I have woken up unable to walk because of sneezing in the middle of the night. I have endured a back injury back in the day that has put my spine into places that I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy. So now it's saying to reach 22,000 feet. Let's make sure we do that. Just going to go ahead and increase some of that vertical speed. Still got plenty of room to get there. I'm at 1,300 feet per minute. Let's go up to 15. Again, the auto throttle is still engaged. Plenty of room before my descent. I may not need to go all the way up, but at least it's a start. Our destination airport again is KTHO. Central US. It does have us in this teardrop orientation again. I'm wondering if we could actually change this mid-flight. Because we all love the teardrop. Oh, it does have us coming into runway 9. So let's try to keep that in mind as we change this. Let's do a change procedure for the approach to KTHO as left direct auto. We'll send that to the avionics as well and activate it. We'll come back out and look at our route. And now when we come into our destination airport, teardrop will no longer be an issue. But it does now say 09. It's still expecting us to flight level 22. We're on our way there. So I think what we need to do is actually spend most of this time between Rosei and EDW45. That needs to be our descent. and it can be done relatively slowly. We can probably even bring it back down just by simply going into another communication with ATC. Let's take this guy out of the mix one more time. We'll bring up ATC again. And we'll get a decrease of another, let's go 10,000 feet down. So instead of 22,
Denver Center SAR, Heli 241 Charlie Echo, Alpha 59er. Request 12,000 feet.
59er. Request denied.
request denied. So it still wants me to continue to 22. I will oblige so far. Easy music, no song. I said no soup for you. No soup. 1 year. This rock airframe, though, is everything. Okay, but every once in a while it's every once in a while it's louder. I change it up. I do appreciate you noticing, though. I appreciate that. Thank you. Look at the farmlands. How many just rings of crops? See one airport there that we are passing up. Moving to Chama. Is it better with no flashing lights on? I love it. It's pretty much empty.
575 SAR Heli 240, 1 Charlie Echo, Alpha 5 9er. Denver Center SAR Heli 240, 1 Charlie Echo, Alpha 5 9er FL 220.
Come on, that's not a thing. Look at that. It's a thing. I love it. It doesn't get any better than that. It really doesn't. I don't care how many times you try, so it's just too funny. So we are coming up to the Regina. I'm gonna disconnect from monitor 1. Seems a little bit early, a little presumptuous to be getting ready for a descent, but I believe that's what we should be doing next. We're still flying at a good 280. Everything is working out pretty well at this point. Haven't seen the unexpected error yet. Whether or not that has anything to do with the new driver update is another question. But honestly, considering how far I've made it into the mission, makes it seem at least partially relevant. We are at the top of the descent. We haven't gotten any mission step sort of communication or even communication yet to begin a descent. But based on our current location, I think what we're going to start doing is approaching this Romeo Oscar Sierra Echo India at the same altitude we're currently at. And then we'll begin to slow down considerably before we make it to that waypoint. And then we will tuck it down. We'll tuck it in. We're going to give it a tucker. We're going to give it a mother tucker. And just slow it down and tuck it in. We're going to tuck it in. It's going to be a mother tucker. We're just letting autopilot control it for now. It's a mother trucker.
SAR Heli 241 Charlie Echo Alpha 59er descend and maintain FL 220.
Descend and maintain SAR, Heli 240, 1 Charlie Echo Alpha 5 9er.
I do not want to reach 22,000 feet at this point, so I am going to just flat out ignore that request. No, I just might be quiet for this descent, okay? I'm just going to try to fly this thing. I may not say much between now and the time I hit the ground, but the key is to land.
SAR Heli 241 Charlie Echo Alpha 5 9er contact Albuquerque Center on 124. Tree 25. Good day.
124. Tree 25 SAR, Heli 240, 1 Charlie Echo Alpha 5 9er. Albuquerque Center SAR, Heli 240, 1 Charlie Echo Alpha 5 9er FL 220. SAR Heli 241 Charlie Echo Alpha 5 9er Albuquerque Center radar contact continue. SAR Heli 241 Charlie Echo Alpha 5 9er, you are 800 feet below your assigned altitude. Climb and maintain FL 220. Climb and maintain FL 220 SAR Heli 241 Charlie Echo Alpha 5 9er. SAR Heli 241 Charlie Echo Alpha 59er, please expedite your climb. FL 220.
Albuquerque Center SAR Heli 241 Charlie Echo Alpha 59er. Request 12,000 feet.
SAR Heli 241 Charlie Echo Alpha 59er, please expedite your climb. FL 220.
SAR Heli 241 Charlie Echo Alpha 59er, please expedite your climb. FL 220.
Now, as all of this is happening in the background, my biggest concern is getting to a proper approach elevation and speed, and I'm not worried about what else is going on with ATC communications at this point. Okay? I don't care. I have fuel on board. My EFB says that I am within a pretty decent amount of airspace between me and my destination. Things are looking pretty good.
SAR Heli 241 Charlie Echo Alpha 59er, please expedite your climb. FL 220.
Don't worry about ATC. What's the blinking red light? Which blinking red light? So you're thinking about the cabin altitude? CABALT? So that is what I believe is the pressurization of the cabin at this specific altitude. This is something that I'm hoping will be fixed within a next bug. Right? But you can see that it's next to a cabin altitude.
SAR Heli 241 Charlie Echo Alpha 59er, please expedite your climb. FL 220.
Right? It's all about cabin altitude. So what this is saying is basically the pressurization of my cabin, which is currently set to, we'll get back down into it again, 7,172 feet. Flight management elevation is set to the airport ICAO of Kilo Tango Hotel Oscar, which is 7,172 feet. Generally speaking, you want a cabin pressure around 8,000, if I'm not mistaken.
SAR Heli 241
So I'm
Charlie
okay with
Echo
seeing
Alpha
that.
59er, please expedite your climb. FL 220.
It's okay. My biggest concern right now is actually altitude. I'm still at 14,000 feet. I'm descending at about 1,000 feet per minute-ish, give or take. And when you look at the EFB, you can see just how far out I really am. Right, we'll take a minute and let that soak in. I don't want to cancel the IFR, but I kind of do, so I am, if I can. We'll cancel IFR. How do we shift A? Nothing is going to cancel the IFR at this point. I've tried everything I can to do what it says in the mission steps, because I'm VFR at this point. It makes sense why it would want me to cancel an IFR, because I am VFR. If you crash, it'll end in IFR. We'll see. It's early in this process, my man, I'm telling you. I have seen this go horribly wrong more times than I care to admit.
Heli 241 Charlie Echo Alpha 59er descend and maintain 9,200 feet. SAR Heli 241 Charlie Echo Alpha 59er acknowledge last transmission.
Descend and maintain 9,200 foot SAR. Heli 241 Charlie Echo Alpha 59er.
It's working perfectly. We're going to hold altitude in a few minutes. I'm not worried about anything else. Altitude here. aircraft.
SAR Heli 241
Start to
Charlie
dial this
Echo
bird
Alpha
back.
59er, please expedite
Take
your
that
descent
airspeed down a little bit.
9,200 feet.
We're going to get into a gear ready configuration.
Albuquerque Center SAR Heli 241 Charlie Echo Alpha 59er would like to cancel IFR.
SAR Heli 241 Charlie Echo Alpha 59er IFR flight plan is canceled. Radar service terminated. Squawk 1200. Maintain VFR. Frequency change approved. Good day.
Keeping up with ATC as much as I can, volume or not.
Kilo Tango Hotel Oscar Traffic SAR Heli 241 Charlie Echo Alpha 59er 7 miles southwest 10,000 Ford inbound to land runway 9er.
Let's kick that managed speed down. So this really becomes an issue of speed management on touchdown. I'm taking my time with this. On my throttle, I'm going to bring it down until I see that green arrow of about 123, 130 knots right-ish there, right? The left side of my PFD is saying that I should be at around 125 knots. I'm trying to slowly bring down my managed airspeed as I walk away from my final. Start to bring the heading in since I'm still working on a heading autopilot. And I'm really going to just kind of finesse the autopilot going on right now. Into a landing. One thing to always pay attention to on every mission you conduct is direction of travel when it comes to expected arrival airport. Your EFB is almost always, if not always, opening automatically in a northerly orientation. So you can see that the compass rose in the upper right-hand corner of my EFB says that north is to the top of the screen. Take notice of that, because if it all of a sudden wants to change you to a different runway, you should be able to very quickly assimilate based on what orientation you are in relation to north. And I'm just rolling in that heading motion as we come into a pattern right now. I'm taking my time doing it. I'm in absolutely no hurry. Flight time is flight time is flight time as far as I am concerned. As long as we bring these missions to an end gently. I don't care how many attempts it takes me to get there. We'll get there. It's the neck hair, SoCal. Look at the hair on this woman's neck. That's not right, dude. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. That's a lot of... We haven't seen a barber in a minute. If I turn visual assistance back on, let's see it start to develop in front of us. I'm going to disconnect the EFB one more time. I'm going to bring the speed back even more. I'm going to try to maintain this just barely over stall speed. And we're going to decrease our altimeter here again. We're going to put some vertical speed into a downward orientation. Just to get a feel for it. Alright, as you can see, I'm at 600 feet per minute and down. A 2D experience. I am not VF, like I don't have any head tracking. So for this mission to have made it even this far is honestly surprising to me. I'm bringing my altitude down even further. I have no idea what my altitude of the airport is. I should have done more research, honestly. But visually, it looks like I'm at a pretty decent altitude for an approach right now. It is saying to fly to a traffic pattern, which is a final. But it does not say what runway yet. A lot of research. More and some. How about some more research? Flying into the traffic pattern says final. Can't put a little bit of a right spin into this. The destination airfield. Yeah, I didn't really do too much of that into this video, actually, when you think about it. Didn't put in much research into a landing pattern at all. But the point actually is, I'm still getting stick time for passive income, whether I land this mission or not. Let's see how we do. I'm gonna go and disconnect autopilot. All of it is coming off. Yaw dampener is still on. Everything else is still in place. I have control over the aircraft. Landing gear are down. Everything looks good. Couple of notches of flaps. Going to announce the final.
Kilo Tango Hotel Oscar Traffic SAR Heli 240, 1 Charlie Echo Alpha 59er is on final runway 9er to land.
That's hysterical. It just says exit runway. I've done that. I'm going to stop the aircraft. I'm going to put the parking brakes on. I'm going to go ahead and do the old control shift E shutdown.
I'll let you study your flight stats.
See how we score. Honestly, I think it has to be pretty good at this point. It wasn't a horrible mission. $84 cargo integrity. Airline procedures 13%. Wow, C rating. Can we get it to at least an A? Absolutely not. Boom, C. Horrible. Horrible. However, that's passive income time earned at a total of 848,140 credits. Reputation's going to take a massive hit from S to C just like that. It's the Bogart. It's a Bogart. But at the same time, my company rating right now is at over 10,000 credits. Was it a very successful mission? No, not by any stretch of the imagination. However, we have these search and rescue missions all over the place that could very quickly get us back where we need to be. So we'll do a Whiskey Yankee Trade 0 and see how we do. This is where we should see our mission if you haven't been there before. So this right here is where Whiskey Yankee 3 at Bondurant, which is normally 24 nautical miles away from your departure, is going to be happening. So you can see already we know where this mission is going to take place. Do I want to go in for it? Let's do it. Why not? I know how to get myself back into an S rating immediately. But update, checkup, checkup. Everything looks good. Repaint, 100%. Yep, I want it. We're gonna go back. I want it all. We're gonna fly that. Let's do it. Overall, so far, it looks like a very windy day in the neighborhood. Let's go ahead and get that oil checked. Close that guy up. We already know it's going. It's so easy to recover from it. But remember, you're also getting a passive income percentage of what that specific aircraft can earn while it's in the air.
Viper 6 SAR, Heli 240, 1 ready to depart.
SCR Heli 240,
Cheat sheet.
Viper 6 green light.
Thanks for speeding things up. As you know, we have a situation here. Here's a quick recap. We've got a missing person in the mountainous region of Bondurant. Her name's Jennifer. She decided to try a dangerous climb earlier today and never came back.
And that's
Since we've had
just
no
a
communication
screenshot
since
of
then,
something that I've
we're a bit
taken in the
worried she might
past.
need help. I'll stand by on the radio while you explore the mountain range. Over.
Whiskey Yankee Tree Zero traffic SAR, Heli 241 Sierra, Alpha Romeo, for 19er taking off runway, 29er east departure.
Your search area should be displayed on your map if needed. SAR Heli 241 Viper 6. Time is critical. Start the search as soon as you get on site. You can panic when you're lost and do something irrational. No news yet from my side, but the relatives appreciate your help. They're quite concerned as you can imagine. We all hope you'll bring her back home, buddy. SAR Heli 241. Hope things are going well. You should be able to spot anything unusual from up there. We have to find her fast. Everyone here is stressed, and we don't want anyone deciding to conduct the search themselves.
Don't worry, we've been there before and we know exactly where we're going. This is the Whiskey Yanko Tree Zero. This is what it looks like where you find the survivor. And all you need to do is find that map and replace it with one of these.
You're right where we lost the track. Her backpack is orange, easy to spot anywhere.
Not far off, is it?
Viper 6, SAR Heli 241. No need to search that far. The guys from Bondurant are already patrolling there.
Where'd they go?
as you reach a safe spot.
Initiating
Coordinates
evac.
43 north, 109 west.
Viper 6 SAR Heli 241. Initiating landing. Viper 6 SAR Heli 241. Initiating landing. Transferring now. Captain, missing people and medic team. Ready for takeoff.
What the hell was that? This is not a simulator. What even was that? Did I know where they were? Absolutely. Did I know how it should have reacted? 100%. Is that how it actually reacted? Not even close.
Welcome aboard. I'm Graham, and I'll be taking care of you until we reach Bondurant. Please tell me if you're in pain or anything. I'll do my best to help.
I'm in a lot of pain. This is, I'm completing missions, getting things accomplished. But holy crap, is this painful. I will say that the new 572.6 driver is doing really good.
Okay. Jennifer, want something to drink? Water or electrolyte drink to
Whiskey
help
Yankee
you
Tree
recover?
Zero Traffic
Water
SAR,
sounds
Heli
good,
241 Sierra Alfa Romeo for 19er 6 miles east 8500, Fort inbound to land runway 29er.
See if we can't bring it in.
fly with the same team?
It depends on the mission and the criticity. But the rescuers usually partner with the same team of pilots who swaps in and out according with their schedules and the conditions.
Whiskey Yankee Tree Zero traffic SCR. Heli 241 Sierra Alfa Romeo.
Didn't see that coming.
Is on
I was
final runway
close.
29er to land.
That kind of snuck up on me. I am not afraid to use the visual assistance when it comes to these outback kind of airports. Tends to get a little interesting. Making an approach to runway 29. Failed. Why, we don't know. I am 100% in line with runway. It just says stop your aircraft, exit the runway. See, now if it was me,
Great
just
job out there. We didn't even have time
any
to
other
worry.
day,
Welcome back.
I would have probably started this over as soon as I saw that message hit. Like, you know what? I know what you did. I know what you did last summer. I know what you did last summer. Either way, I dye the grass. We'll come back into this bad boy. Shut her down. Start spooling that down. Double check to make sure that we are in an idle configuration. We'll bring the generator off. We'll bring the horn off. There we go. Avionics are off. All of this just comes off. We'll wait for, I'll say 170 this time around. Sometimes they say smoke 'em if you got 'em. I don't think we're going to need to wait all the way down to the 140 mark. I think with the little bit of a wind that we've had today, we'll see the 170. We'll call it good. Because again, this is all about the maintenance in the details, right? So as we bring this chopper down, while waiting, according to its maintenance schedule. We get the mission success. We're probably going to wind up with the S rating. 100%, 100%, 100%. Dealing with it. Okay. Not even 100,000 in XP points, however. C reputation should go back up to B, and I, of course, will need to make sure that by the next time UTC comes around, this reputation update is back up to S. So I, of course, have more work to do. But I am at a search and rescue helicopter 241 mission of a total of 1,717 flights. We've gone over 44,883 nautical miles with an unbelievable 386 flight hours. It's a great way to spend a day. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't care who you are or what you've done in 2020 or prior simulators. 2024 is really, really an impressive thing. In SoCal, that is a whole lot of flights, my friend. And it's still broken. However, my flight time is only going to increase over the time as these mission sets continue to just expand around the entire planet. Again, this is freelancer mode. These are the options of missions that I have available at this point. And the true benefit is diversification. Diversify your assets. Make sure you have fixed wing and rotocraft, and then start to open up the planet. Right? Because look at this. I've got search and rescue hoist, but hoist, then search and rescue, this medevac, regular search and rescue hoist. There is a method to my madness at this point. I sincerely hope to be able to attend the Flight Sim Expo in June. I would love to see everybody there. It would be absolutely fantastic. This has been a hell of a journey. But these missions are just starting to really open up. Look at how many search and rescue missions, by doing all of this unlocking of fixed wing aircraft, that have made these search and rescue without hoist missions available. The point of today's video, long as it may be, is honestly about diversification. Once you diversify the platform of your airline, you will unlock more and more and more and more search and rescue helicopters missions. And it is only a matter of time before we get the MH160 involved here, and we can involve this in all of these bad boys. And it is going to be off the chain sooner than later. It is a little bit of an annoyance. No doubt, SoCal, it is annoying. However, it brings us back to our roots. And I will say I'm honestly not mad about it. I've got a lot more of the planet to open up. So when we get into the diversification of all of these zones around the planet, and we start to diversify our density areas no matter what time of season, we're going to have missions available all the time, every time. I am loving the way this is working out. It's been an absolute blast. It's been a ball. Ladies and gentlemen, for today, I will say, working on all of this has been a blast and it's been a ball. In the Himalayas, there is a lot to uncover because there are things in the pipeline that we don't even know about yet. But we are soon to find out. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, it has been a blast. It has been a ball. For the maintenance is in the details. Should it be that's it, that's all? Or should we continue to see exactly what it means? So we've been flying this mission for a while. So if we come into this and we choose one of these aircraft and start to manage a brand new set of checkups, landing gear, I will always just maintain full cost. No problem. Let's go further down the line. See, I want to know where these aircraft are located on the planet in this menu system. It should be hugely important because we can sift through these things all day long and say, well, maybe this one's not in good condition. Let's fix it. You do the checkup, you get, okay, it's all good. Everything is great, 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 great. When do you come across that mission set of an aircraft that you've been in for a while? And how do you know which aircraft is which? If I go into the hydraulic system and details, look at this. The entire thing needs to be maintained. Boom. Electrical systems, maintain it. There's 200K, no problem. Landing gear, 24K, no problem. But hydraulics, I'll details that. And I'll start to maintain these at 803 credits each before I duck out. But there needs to be some nomenclature of which aircraft you are currently maintaining. And the only way to really do that is from the map itself when you are looking at missions. So when you are in missions and you're looking at the overview of the planet, you can come up to each individual aircraft here. No hoist, manage aircraft. That way you know what aircraft is in what position. This one should be cargo. We'll maintain. We'll look at the update. We'll look at the checkup. We'll go to the electrical systems, but go to details instead. Look. The details now are only going to cost me $72.67, and everything else is fixed. The rest of that maintenance is overhead I didn't need to spend. When it comes to maintaining a freelancer, hangar that is full of aircraft, in excess of 5 or more, it is essential to pay attention to the details. We will bring you more as we uncover the entire planet. It's been a blast. It's been a ball. Ladies and gentlemen, for now, that's it. That's all. We will see you